Why you don't want to be Steve Jobs. So, Steve Jobs, the most excellent, ruler in all the Apple world, right? The deal is that Steve Jobs, to be Steve Jobs, had to pay a big price, right? Which is okay. It's okay to pay big prices, but he didn't choose some of his prices, right? So he's an orphan. Okay. So this plays deeply in his psyche. This is something that he struggles with for years and years and years, and I believe that he finally made peace towards the end of his life. Better to make peace early in your life than later in your life, if at all possible. You may not have the tools or be ready, but as soon as you can make peace with your demons, make peace with your inner conflicts, your struggles, find them if you can, the better off you are. But you probably don't want to deal with those problems. You probably, wherever you're from, you have your own problems, okay? Which is why being you is awesome. Because you deal with those problems, and then you can do the things that you ought to do or you want to do in great magnitude to your potentiation, okay? So, you don't want to do that. You don't want to be Thomas Edison. Right now there's a big thing, right? And I have a deep respect for this particular individual. Pretty much he's an orphan on a train, right? For a long period of time. And he's a chemist. He creates papers, and then he starts inventing like a madman. And then he hires other people to be inventors. And he gets a lot of shit for that. But the thing is that without him actually creating this first time in the world where you got together this group of idea makers, right? These wild-eyed inventors who, that's what they wanted to do. But they didn't have the means of doing it, right? And he did. He had the means of doing it, means of production, and then he shared some of that. But he was a tyrant. And he was a tyrant because he didn't have peace. He had internal struggles that were unimaginable to most people. He had demons eating at his door that you never want to face, right? And so, when he even comes to say at the end, the very end of his life, even at the very end of his life, as an externalization and an apology of what he did to another young, beautiful inventor, right? And he was sorry for it. But he was truly sorry for it, and it wasn't just bullshit. Okay? Because I think at that moment, when he had to let go, and you had to let go of everything, you let go of your ego, you let go of your life. Right? At that moment of death, you let go of even your life. You let go of your ego, and you're like, wow, there are things I could have potentially done better. But honestly, he didn't do bad for the demons that he was handed, and he never made peace with them. Never. And so that's kind of the issue, right? So you can be Edison, right? Always have those demons eating at your stomach, at your soul, always being a hungry ghost, without even knowing it, without even purposefully being or doing those things. And still in those moments when he's by the river, probably deeply at peace in those moments. But those are moments in a whole film, in a whole record, an Akashic record of one's life, right? So, you don't want to be Steve Jobs. You don't want to be Edison. Being great, and it's all right. You want to be great. There are ways of being great probably without paying this price, right? Some people probably are blessed with the ability of of being excellent, very excellent, without paying some of these prices. But these guys are legends because they paid the greatest prices, right? And they paid prices that they would have never chosen for themselves. So, you don't want to be Steve Jobs. You don't want to be Edison. You don't want to be all kinds of great people, because the price you pay for that level of greatness may be too high for you. Maybe too high for you. And if you're unlucky / lucky enough to be one of those greats, try to find a way to be kind. Try to find a way to be kind to yourself. Try to find a way to console yourself. They don't have to be demons that drive you, right? It could be love. Love then could drive you and allow you to be this great and do these great things. And what is the condition of that, right? Well, there still might be a price. Maybe it's a 7-year-old in your life with a brain tumor who dies too early, right? And that's the price. The price that was paid for everybody in an environment, whether they know it or not, to be great. It's too high. It's way too high. But the price was paid, right? The blood was paid. So, if that great sacrifice is made and the blood is paid, you might have responsibilities. You have responsibilities to yourself, to the world, to your core, to love itself, to share, to be kind, to be friendly, to do your best, to seek excellence. And maybe none of these things will happen for you. Maybe they're impossible. But maybe you always were. Let's solve some problems. Let's make this world a little better today than it was. Let's leave this place, wherever this is. Whether if the Buddhists are right and we are in the realm of insanity, whether others are right and we are in hell, let's make this heaven. We can make this place a little kinder for ourselves and for those that come after us, and for the bees and the trees, the waters, the brooks, the streams, the air. Because when we go to other worlds, I hope we do a better job. But while we're on this world, we need to do a better job, because we don't have another place to go yet.